Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being here. Well, it didn't go as we expected. Michael Rudnin says, he says he has one. I'm away from home today, and I guess he wants to have one on the screen. Well, look, I want to get you at peace before you leave here, so let's go ahead and get that onto the screen. Let's get that onto the screen for you, brother. Let's get it onto the screen for you. All right, here it is on the screen for you, Michael Rudin. Okay, he says Trump wins Republican Congress. Here's what's going to happen. Unchecked executive power will be enshrined. Our attempts to curtail global meltdown are over. Civilization collapse will become inevitable. Our attempts to push equality are over. Concentration camps for immigrants, certain gender minorities, and anyone Trump personally considers an enemy, likely starting with few prosecutors and judges. Racism, sexism, xenophobia, and hatred are back on the menu. Women will be subjugated. Palestinians will be exterminated. Corporate power will go unchecked. Profits from automation go to the rich. The wealth gap will grow. The social safety net will be eliminated. I am not sure if we'll ever have another election. Conservative judges on every court, including a Supreme Court supermajority, ensure everything is nice and legal. Democracy has chosen fascism and pain. CG is the chat. It's over. Let's see what's your other thing that you want for the screen. Yeah, not too nice. Not too nice. Ugly, ugly, ugly screen. But what can I say? Actually, go paint Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska red. It's over. And Michigan red. Call it out. That's what it is. It's red. Egberto, for one for the screen. You have another one for the screen, Rudnin? You have another one for the screen? The Trump Vance Project. Okay, I'll put that on the screen as well. All right, guys, read it. Let's salute everybody. Gail Kunis, where are you? I am here in Kingwood, Texas, the outskirts of Houston, Texas. Eric Hayes says, Rundinism just read. Rudnin is right. Eric Hayes, welcome from Kingwood, Atascocita. Gail Kunis, where are you from? All right, let's see. Steigen Bergen Creek says, no, what has happened? This could be the end of America as we know it. I want to punch a fascist. Don't worry about punching a fascist right now. The orange man won, but it's even more. He won decisively. Trump did not only, let me fix the screen. Let's get this clear, folks. Trump didn't only win. That was a red wave like I had never, ever seen. Okay? That was a red wave I had never seen. Right across. It was big. It was something we didn't see at all. At all. At all. But he won. And he won decisively. I want to congratulate our MAGA brothers, Lee Grant, Eric Hayes, and Mike Cisak. I was completely wrong in my assessment. I had more faith in the American people. I had more faith in white women, that white women would come through for their daughters, even if only 39% of white men did. I really, really thought that this time, my white brothers, my white sisters, I didn't think the Eric Hayes of the world, and I never expected anything out of these guys. But my God, I expected it out. There's a friend of mine. She sent me a text today. She said her full text was, "What happened?" And I said, "Well, America failed me. America disappointed me." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, and I sent all of this on text, and I said, "I really, really thought that uh, that white women would have won this for us." I said, because they were the real swing vote here. We just needed to get 3 or 4% transition from 52%, which is how they supported Trump, to bring it back, because white men was at 39%, black women was at 97%, black men was at 80 something percent. White women could have saved us because there are so many of them. Just a small percentage would have done the job. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And she wrote back and said, "Why did you ever expected that to happen?" And my heart just sank. Because I'm the person that preaches, when we bring Appalachia, the ghettos and the barrios together, the stereotype that I always use. I'm genuinely disappointed, because the thing about it is, we will transition. Look, folks, beforehand, I want you to know this, folks, beforehand. We will recover. It's going to be slow, but it's going to take us 4 years to recover. I hope I'm around in 4 years, but I don't know. But it'll take us 4 years, because the damage that he's going to do will bring some back to us, enough back to the people who want a good safety net and all these other things that he's not going to get rid of. Okay? It's going to take some time. But we'll recover it. These things comes in cycles. But the fact that we're going to have to rebuild again, the fact that he's going to deconstruct so much, and then we'll have to build again, is the problem. It's the problem. But please, as your heart burns, as much as my heart burn right now, and my heart doesn't burn because personally for me, it actually burns for everybody. It burns for all the women that once again, they feel, once again, a woman doesn't do it. And the part that's hurtful is that women stopped a woman, you know? But I tell you what, I want to play what I did this morning. I don't want to have to repeat it again, because this was directly from the heart at 6 o'clock this morning on my KPFT program. So what I want to do is I want to play my 6 o'clock, just that little snippet from my 6 o'clock program, because it hurts. It genuinely hurts. It genuinely hurts that a competent woman, a woman that is much more competent than the person who beat her, a woman that is much more honest than the person who beat her, a woman that had better plans than the person who beat her, a woman that was going to say, for all you women out there, including you white women out there, my sisters, that are in the sandwich situation, that was going to have to take care of your mother and your child at the same time. These were real policies. I had Dr. Donna Kim Murphy on my show, and she takes care of her mother and her children, and she's working on helping these people be able to afford it. That's gone. That is a plan that would have came under Harris. That plan for helping small businesses compete with the billionaires. You think Elon Musk is going to have anything for small businessmen? No, business people. All these things were plans. They asked her, what kind of plans you have for people? And all these plans are plans that everybody loves. When they test it, everybody loves them. but they gave it up. And why did they give it up? I want to, before I play the video, I want you guys to take this link from my Substack and I want you to read it. I want you to share it because, folks, let me find it here. It's an important piece that I wrote while I was in the right state of mind. So there's a link. Please take that link, read that link, and share that link. I ask you so kindly. But here's what I did this morning, and then we'll take it on the other side. America, I keep in the depths of my heart to say most people are good. And I stand by that. Most people are good. We are subject to our carnalities. We're subject to the resistance. We're subject to the externalities that plays on our fears. And that may sound like a cliche, but it is true. It is true. America revealed itself, however. I want my biggest fear, or not fear, but my biggest worry is what Donald Trump has taught not the American people, because the American people are victims to this behavior, what it has taught the politicians, those who are seeking your vote, that get your vote by all means necessary. If it means making you scared, if it means making you scared of others, if it means making you harm others in the process, do whatever it takes to win. And my fear is that the Democratic Party, progressives, etc., would have learned that from Trump because he played it to the T. Before I get a little bit deeper, let me just give you a little kind of a thing. We have Kamala Harris, a Black Asian woman who is married to a Jewish guy. And let me back up first. You know, I don't believe in race, but we live in a racialized society. And that is the way campaigners, or in this case, that is what and how Donald Trump played it. But it turns out that what he did, and I try to explain this on several blogs and stations before, is in the same one community. If I have a community, Dearborn, let's use Dearborn, Michigan as an example. Because of the technology that we have today with social media and other places, and because we know who is doing what where, this one person in one domain, in one group, would tell that group of people, Kamala Harris and her Jewish husband hate Palestinians and they will not do right by Palestinians. And then they will go and multi-target to Jewish people and say, Kamala Harris doesn't like Jews because, and in as much as she's married to a Jewish man. So we have now used the technology to implement our largest, or to bring out our largest fears. And the master marketing of the Trump campaign was able to do that just right. But you know what? 39% of white men didn't believe it. 47% of white women didn't believe it. 78% of black men didn't believe it. 92% of black women, the stalwarts of democracy, didn't believe it. 44% of Latino men, didn't believe it. 61% of Latino women didn't believe it. 50% of all other voters, which comprise about 6% of the electorate, didn't believe it. So my question is, what happened to 59% of white men? What happened to 52% of white women? What happened to 54% of Latino men? What happened to 37% of Latino women and 20% of black men, 7% of black women? What is there within Donald Trump that made you pull that trigger and say, it is okay I think I can vote for this guy because you take a look at the ads that were placed all over the country. There are two kinds of ads that were placed around the country. There were the generic ads that targeted everybody's a large propensity or the majority that 59% white men, 52% white women, 20% black men. And by the way, I've heard it directly. That transgender tape that a lot of us progressives laughed at. Come on, you probably have met one transgender person and doesn't really matter. But like I've said many times, these things were psychologically profiled for the feeble-minded. And I say that with dear respect. These things were calculated, placed there. They were done in a manner with science. What triggers these people? How? Everybody's sitting down there and analyzing exactly what do we need to change in America? What do we need to change in America? One of the reasons you see me talk about people getting together and letting folks, you know what, my term, when Appalachia, the barrios and the ghettos all get together, our problems will be over. And I mean that, and that is true. The problem is that group that I just told you that voted for Donald Trump. We have to get to them before their carnalities get to them. And what has happened over the last few weeks didn't allow that to happen. Let's give a good example here. One of the reasons I talk about the horrendous mainstream media is in order for you to hate somebody else, you have to feel like having that other person around has a material effect on you. Donald Trump, from the time he left office, in as much as he left a destroyed economy, in as much as he left death behind him with a pandemic, as much as he had done nothing for those people who have voted for him, sans the wealthy people, done nothing for them, absolutely nothing, constantly used the marketing technique that said, remember how it was. Remember how it was. Prices weren't high when I left office. Remember how it was. Gas was cheap. Gas was under $2. Remember that. He never said gas was cheap because there's a pandemic. Nobody was driving and the pandemic was exacerbated because of my poor management. That's not what he said. He just gave the top number. Gas was cheaper. The economy was greater. What did you do to make the economy great again? Oh, well, I had Obama's economy and I really did nothing. I gave some huge tax cuts. But as far as what I did to make the economy better, what did I do? What physical policy did I pass for the economy? None, right? Now, so he constantly hype on the economy, how great it was. Are people feeling pain? A couple years ago that have continued to today? Yes. But what's the genesis of that pain? What created that pain? Donald Trump, the mismanagement of the economy, the mismanagement of COVID, the inflation rate that got zoomed up because we got into supply chain issues that then were exacerbated by corporate greed, created again by Donald Trump. So the inflation price Kamala paid for, she had nothing to do with it, but solve it under the auspices of President Biden. All the deviances within the economy were solved by President Biden. CHIPS and Act, Investment Reduction Act. I mean, all these different things that have zoomed the economy, where a Wall Street says whoever gets this economy gets a great economy. It is true that the economy was not shared equally by the working class, but that has nothing to do with Biden specifically. That has to do with what we preach all the time. What we want as society, what we claim we want is what Donald Trump says no to, which is what would make the economy better for the working class, better for all those people that claim the economy was better when the economy wasn't better. But again, Donald Trump said it was better, and it instantiated in your head that it was better. In fact, Donald Trump's rating as a president went up not when he was in office, but when he left office, because he constantly tell you, I was a great president, I had a great economy. And for those who don't know, those with minds that are not, well, I won't say that, but They don't know. They believe, oh, the economy was great. And the economy this, the economy that. But you know what, guys? It's a combination of how that was put together. What they did was created a narrative. They created a larger narrative about a good economy, and then they super targeted to the right people. White people, Latino, black men. I mean, it was magical. And the problem is that it works. The problem is that it works. But for all those people you see that I mentioned, my 39% black men, white men, my 47% white women, my 78% black men, my 92% black women, my 44% Latino men, my 61% Latino women, and the rest. They didn't buy it, but too many did. Too many said, somebody with a flawed character, somebody that raped women. And I said it because a judge said it after looking at the evidence. Somebody who looked at you, working class people, and told you or stiffed you. Some people who looked at many of you working class people who wanted to ascend and to be a Donald Trump that you saw on TV, that you joined his university and he ripped you off. Somebody who looked at his charities and stole. Somebody who didn't pay taxes as he expected you to pay. Somebody who did all these things and you looked at him. You, 59% white men, 52% white women, 20% black men, 77% black women, 54% Latino men, 37% Latino women, 45% other. You looked and you said, that's okay. A qualified person, somebody who could articulate a sentence, somebody who had done right, somebody who many had made a caricature of. But when you look at the record, the experience record, she was experienced in government. She was vice president. And somebody who came off a TV show with a business degree who has simply bankrupted every single company he's been with. Somebody who goes on TV and uses his presidential race to sell you golden shoes and cards. A caricature of a person, a feeble-minded, not very serious person. You looked at that guy and you had a talented, well-spoken, somebody who cared about humanity next to that guy. And you said, that's who I want to represent America. When I started the program today and I said to the rest of the world, I apologize on behalf of America. I really do. I could not be more embarrassed as an American. I could not be more disgusted as an American. I can tell you to all of those that, yesterday on the program, I talked about what my mother said because I was a black Latino Caribbean man. My mother and father both would always say you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. And again, I came over here and it pissed me off because I said it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And I made it my mission to change that sort of a thing. And it goes for women as well. And to put it bluntly, mostly for women, because more so than any racial issues, the issue of sexism is much harder. Ask Hillary Clinton. Some ask now Kamala Harris. She had the triple whammy. And the thing about it is when we talk about supremacy, folks, when we talk about white supremacy, the perpetrators of white supremacy have little to do with whiteness. The perpetration of white supremacy has little to do with whiteness. And to watch 52% of white women, 50, and just women in general, vote for the person who had made sure that judges were placed into power that put the lives of many women in danger, the health of many women. That tells you something. That tells you something. But it's the only country we've got. We've regressed. And as an activist, as a host, and all that comes in between, it is my duty, it is my calling to tell us bad things happen And we just have to brush it off, get up, and remember one thing. The resistance begins. The resistance begins. I want all of you that are feeling hurt right now, all of you that think it's all over. I'm from a Central American country where a hell of a lot of worse things have happened before. The resistance begin. This one is tough because the Trump administration is going to go into government and destroy institutions, and it's going to do a lot of damage to the executive. A lot of damage to the executive. So we will have 4 years of damage to the executive. We will. The question is how much of it can be stymied, and the other thing is how can we bring those people on the wrong side of morality, on the wrong side of what's right? How can we bring them into the fold? I got a text as Donald Trump was seen sure to win from somebody I consider a good friend, white guy, and he opened up. Opened up, and he started to tell me why these things happened, and he gave me the DEI argument as to why people voted the way they did. And I listened to his true text, and I watched, and I saw in his wordiology, I saw all the reasons for the fear, for those who allow themselves the fear, and how he likely voted. I'm disappointed in America. Those of us who did the right thing, should be disappointed in America, but this is our country as well. And it is upon us as citizens of the United States, it's upon us for the sake of our children, for the sake of our children, to stay in the fight and to be there to protect them. And to the women of America, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that many of you now were sentenced to death. And that's not a hyperbole. Many of you have lost your reproductive rights. Many of you are no longer in control of your bodies. And yes, there are most women, yes, they did support that. There is a complex that defines that. And it's something that we have to work on. It is something we have to solve. But brothers and sisters, before I'm going to the phone in a second, don't let what has happened have you lose faith in your fellow person. Don't let that, when you go out, don't let that just let you climb into a ball. Keep expanding, keep talking, because if we had more time to do it, just maybe things could have been better. The disappointment and the hurt's gonna last probably till January 20, a little bit after, to have to watch this guy get inaugurated as the leader of America. The rest of the world is going to realign. Let me let you know this clearly. America is no longer that nation that people will look up to with seriousness. They will look up at America as the country that has the most nuclear weapons and that can blow any place off the world. And because of that, it will be an unstable superpower. But this will give great impetus for the likes of BRICS to come into play. This will give great impetus for the rise of Russia, Brazil. Absolutely so. It will ensure that BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and a few other countries, put in their own peoples together. All right. Steigen Bergensen says, why is Egberto so calm? We all know this is a genesis of fascist America. Maybe he will start to be alarmed when he starts rounding up immigrants and sending dissenters to re-education camps. Look, it's not about calmness, Steigen. If I get up here and just start shouting, I'm not going to accomplish anything. It's about planning how to prevent that which is likely to happen. Okay? That's all. We are not going to go after each other's throats, we progressives. We are not going to allow that to occur. My brother, my brother, my brother Patrick, it's great to hear from you. Talk to me.
Always good to hear from you. Sorry things didn't work out as well as we might want to. I didn't want to say this before the election, but I did expect it because of what I was hearing from people, and just I understand the society that I I I, I don't know why we wouldn't expect the majority of people that live in a society that is based on violence not to vote for a violent person.
hmm I guess you're right. I guess you're right. But let me just say again, I was wrong, and I think I made it clear at KPFT this morning, and I'm making it clear here as well. I just misunderstood. I had rose-colored glasses on. I just had so much faith in all women, and I just had so much faith that women would say, I care enough of my daughters that I will not make this happen, and that they would see things clearly. Women usually see things a lot clearer than men. They normally do because they have the lived experience of having the boot on their neck. That is what is so hurtful
Yeah,
about this.
um, yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, it can only be categorized as voting against our own interest. But uh, I believe that inherently, or I believe that especially people like myself, if we move in a direction of nonviolence or less violence, that we're going to have to give something up, and I'm kind of afraid that people want their stuff more than they want peace or they want good for the people around them.
I think what
They
you're
want
saying is you think
they
people are. I think you're telling me if I'm right with this, Patrick, and it scares me if that's what you're thinking. You're saying people are no longer going to put themselves on the line because they just want their stuff. In other words, we had Bezos not print the editorial for supporting Kamala Harris. We had the New York, I mean the LA Times not print. In other words, people they self govern not to go against the system, and that in itself is a problem. Is that what you're implying?
Yes. You've used the term bread and circus, which I've read a
Yes.
lot, and I understand that. And
Yes.
that's exactly that is more. Our PlayStations are more important than how people live in the Congo.
Yeah.
We want stuff from Mexico, but we don't want Mexicans. We 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 want a lot of things, but we don't want happiness. Um, this culture can't survive without violence, and I think that we know that on a subconscious level, and I'm afraid that we won't go against it.
You know what is
It
interesting? What is interesting is the following, Patrick. I think there is a ground, and we just let me see how to put this out because this is what I was thinking. I stayed after I got out. I did that whole program last night. I had some technical problems, but we were in like 100 and something stations last night, and one of the things that I really felt was that how I don't want to give up on people, right? I can't give up on people because that is expressing or that is going under the assumption that it's all over. And I have a daughter. I imagine you have your kids as well. And we it's our responsibility to ensure that we each generation try to make things better. Okay? It is important. So I am not giving up on this, and I've already been in touch with quite a few activists. And again, this we don't believe in violent activism or whatever, but we believe in forceful activism. And if you read the paper that the article, I haven't read it completely yet from Common Dreams. This is going to be progressive resistance 2.0. And in other words, we're not going to just let them violently do things to us. We're not going to let them take away that which we've earned. Uh, I'm concerned about things like Medicare and Social Security and what they have planned, because I can imagine now they will increase things like the age at which you get Social Security, the working age. I imagine they'll do some other things with Social Security because they have to find a way to pay for these tax cuts that they're going to give to the billionaires, and that only comes out of the pockets of the working class. So all these things have to occur, and it's what we have to fight back. And I think we have to be ready to use this with those same people that vote for these guys, because while a lot of these women felt they didn't mind putting their children lives in danger, they didn't mind making sure that they supported a rapist or I mean, that didn't do it. But I think they'll kind of mind starving. So there are going to be ways
Yeah,
for us
yeah,
to do
but
it. Go ahead.
I agree. I agree with that. But and I'm not trying to discourage you, but I am going to say some pretty discouraging things.
Go ahead. I mean,
What
that's what
you
we're here
what
for.
you're
We're
saying,
here to talk. Go ahead.
yeah, what you're saying is 100% correct. But I am very very discouraged about how effective it's going to be, because you've got several billion-dollar think tanks that have been planning this for 5 6 years now. They're
Uh-huh.
ready for anything you have to say, and I've noticed in the last 20 years that you can predict everything that's going to happen, and you can confront the people that you've said it to 1 year, 5 years, 10 years later, however it has to play out, but they will already have been programmed with deception, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll acknowledge that happened. Like your example of starvation. When it gets so expensive to live here and eat here, they're going to experience it, but they will have been told that it will have been because of you, or it will
Right.
have been because of somebody coming in, and they're going to be effective with it. That they were so effective at this election, and they're just going to have more time and more money.
Okay. Here's my answer to that, though, because it's not. This is. I don't want to play too much of a blame game here, but here's a reality. Um, we ran a 1970, 1980, 1990 campaign. Donald Trump spent one third the money that was spent by the campaign, by the Harris campaign, because they knew what they were micro programming people, just as you said. They were micro programming people. I got a call from a friend today, another activist, and he turned me on to what's going on with mostly young white men. If you notice, Donald Trump really activated a group between 18 and 25, and they went wholeheartedly for Donald Trump. And this guy turned me on to some chats. I don't haven't seen him. It's a video he sent me, and he said, "Look at what's happening. There's so much happening in the background that none of us see, but that Trump knows about, that Elon Musk knows about, because again, he has this multimedia company. He can control the algorithm, and he can get into the boxes and the rads of all these other folks. It's all programming, and you're correct about that. The thing about it is, we are playing the progressives, while we have not been playing the appropriate game, and it is time for us to do it. And he kind of schooled me on some things. I'm older, so he's younger. And look, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of planning to do, and we have a lot of educating to do. And I understand everything that you're saying, but you and I and all other activists, we just have to get the job done. We don't stay back and do nothing. We got to get a job done. And I know
Yeah,
you'll be right there.
yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say that you can, even if it's impossible, you can't stop, because then you're culpable.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's a good thing about it, right? These guys, and here's using your words. All these think tanks have programmed some people, right?
Hmm.
Now, we also need the think tanks that are going to deprogram these guys. All right. And what I'm saying is, just as they could do that, we can as well. I don't give them any more power than we have power. What we have to do is have will. And the other thing that we have to do is we have to make sure and give everybody in the one of the things that progressive have is we're very in a daily coast. Coast said it this morning at the Daily Coast. He said a lot of our allies, our natural allies as progressives, are partially because of the way we were forced to do certain things, have created or helped create the problems that we have. And then another progressive said, let's just do something like look at the word Latin X and go into the Latino community. I'm a Latino, so I knew that I have spoken and written about this so many times. Go into the Latino community and talk about Latinx. They say, who the hell are you? These are the kinds of things that we as progressives have to do. Another one said, we have to learn how to talk to people better. And I am trying to, where I can, I think I can, but we have to do a whole lot of things. When you failed, you have to find how to improve yourself. And if the one thing we got to give Brother Trump kudos for is this was a real win. I want everybody to understand this. Donald Trump's win yesterday was a real win. It was constructed with a lot of deviancy. It was constructed with racism, sexism, xenophobia, lies. All those things were the construction of that win. I mean, in the Arab community, he was sending talking about Kamala being anti-Jewish, I mean anti-Arab, being married to a Jewish person and don't like, and he micromanaged, or rather, he micro-targeted Arabs with that message about Kamala, and then he micro-targeted messages to Jews saying that somehow Kamala was anti-Jew. Same campaign. All these kind of micro targetings were occurring, completely different than what we in the progressive space was doing. So there's a lot of work to do, and I think we can do it without lying. He lied, and his lies did the job. You look at that red wave that went across the entire country. The man was successful. Let's give him his kudos. And guess what? He has a mandate. I know progressive hate when I say that. He has a mandate. Now we have
Well,
to take that mandate away. Go ahead.
I, I was going to say your point that he campaigned on lies.
Yeah,
There's a chilling fact that most people can't handle that much reality.
true.
They don't want to hear what progressives have to say, because progressives say we have to change, and we do.
Well,
The,
mhm.
I know you understand that because you avoid it, but you speak of growth, and you and I both know that we can't continue growing like this.
No, it's impossible,
And
right? It's
there,
mathematically impossible. Mathematically impossible. You're
but
right.
if I tell that to my neighbors, they'll stop talking to me. If I say that to my coworkers, they'll stop talking to me. If I
Right.
tell them that we need to live more simply, I'm the worst person they've ever met.
Hmm.
People don't want to hear what they have to do. We're all children. We don't want to grow up.
Right.
It's gonna kill us.
Well,
I think the only thing positive that I see out of this election is it might end Western culture faster.
Oh, don't say that, please, Patrick. Don't say that. Don't. Hey, Patrick, look, let me
It,
tell you,
it, won't-
brother. Patrick, let me
Go
just
ahead.
say this, okay? I want to say this. We're hanging. We'll hang together, all of us, you know. And we're gonna start making some changes on the outside, and we're going to find a technique. Just like they found your technique, we just have to find ours. That's all we got to do, brother. But let's give our MAGA folks in the chat, congratulate them. You know, we are not like the others. There will be a transition to the people who won, and we will admit that they won. And did they win fair and square? They didn't commit any crimes to win that we know of. Now we have to do our job. But anyway, anything else, Patrick, before I kind of read some of these things on the screen?
No, and along with that, I mean, this is a quote unquote democracy, and if this is what the people want,
Hmm.
I don't think it's the best for us, but
Right.
I accept it.
It's a democracy. But anyway, but here's the thing. Hey, P, we need to start arranging a time that we can go have our coffee, brother. Okay?
And, yes,
You
sir.
you
Sounds
just
good.
after this weekend, I have a Houston Peace and Justice Center thing that I have to do. After this weekend, you just let me know. We'll meet somewhere. All right?
Sounds good.
Thank you, brother, and
Thank you very
thank you
much.
for being here. Have a great day. Anyway, folks, that
You
was
too.
our one and only Patrick Patrick Magner. Love me some Patrick. All right, look, folks. I know you're hurting. And hi, Bridge MCP. I know it hurts, Bridge. I know it hurts. I can't read everything here, but I'm going to read it there after. You guys can see it in the chat. Um, but there's something that you said I want to read. I saw it scroll past me that I want to read, Bridge, because I said yes, 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 yes. Where is that message that you put up in there? Hi, Bruce Pollard. How you doing, my brother? Carl Cox. Rada Copter. How you doing? May Wood, my brother. How you doing? Paul Fleming. How you doing, my brother? Let's see. Did I miss anybody? If I missed anybody, forgive me. I know Bridge put something in there that I wanted to read. Let's see if I can scan it and search for it. Bridge. Let's see. I think let's go to it. It's a patriarchal society. That is why women will vote this way. Internalized sexism or internalized misogyny. Internalized sexism is a form of sexist behavior and attitude enacted by women toward themselves or other women and girls. I get it. I get it. Sad, but I get it. Bree says, all you Monday quarterbacks, LOL. Yeah, I know. Alberto, this when there is it. When given the chance, the disenfranchised conservative, the unhappy Republican, the ignorantly selfish redneck fake American ignored every red flag and warning sign that disgusting man had showed for 8 straight years of nonstop wall-to-wall coverage. They put aside their religious belief of loving their fellow man, threw away any doubt they understood what that flag actually stands for, what it means to be real, to be a real compassion filled American, and re elected a twice impeached, adulterous serial lying, adjudicated rapist hustling felon back to the most powerful and prestigious executive job in the world. Because eggs cost more and brown people want a better life. Wow. I think that one deserves a tweet. Let me do a screenshot of that guy. Actually, did you write that, Bridge? Are those your words? I am going to screenshot that. I love that. Wow, I love that. Let me screenshot that baby. And then I am going to that's a good one, Bridge. That is a very good one. Wow. Anyway, folks, I know we're hurting right now. I know we're hurting. And look, we're family here, and we can talk. Please, again, go ahead and remember to share that article that I told you about, because I think I put a whole lot of perspective into it. I'm going to put it in there again. Go ahead and share that article, please. It's important. All right, folks. I am really feeling for women right now. I really am. When does it end? Yvette Avery Herod says that's something I can't do. I will remain civil. I hear you, girl. I hear you. I hear you. Um, the hurt is not going to go away. Let's make sure and do something with it. Let's make sure and activate. Let's make sure that those who are doing the work actually, you know what? I can actually, I okay. Ray comes, brother Ray, brother Ray, brother Ray. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, brother. I'm just basically speaking to you from the other edge of hell,
I hear you.
which is where I feel like we are.
Speak, my brother.
So, this scenario reminds me a lot of that Netflix movie that I watched recently. If you ever have a chance, I definitely implore you to do it while we actually have some free time because it ties into what I'm saying. And if you ever recall that movie on Netflix with Leonardo DiCaprio and Meryl Streep, Don't Look Up. So,
I saw that movie. Yes.
so, as the plot goes, for those who don't know, the scientists discovered an asteroid coming to the Earth, and they frantically tried to warn everybody, hey, we got an asteroid. America came up with a plan to actually destroy the asteroid and save humanity. But then the oligarch got in the way. And the oligarch said, hey, I got a better way, a more efficient way that we can actually destroy this asteroid and get rich.
Hmm.
Sound familiar? And then
Yes.
what happened? That project completely failed, and the world as we know it was in peril. And all we could do from that point on, now we had a good plan to destroy the asteroid that was foolproof, but we went with the dumb plan and it destroyed the world. And I feel
Hmm.
like right now we're in that sense of the world like the asteroid is coming and all I feel like I can do is just try to enjoy and salvage what little bit of life that we have left before the MFR hits.
Ray, you know what is so funny? I forgot about that movie, but that is the exact right movie to use at this time. In the next 4 years, a lot of baby boomers will have parents that are about to either go to a nursing home or they'll have to take care of. And we had planned a Harris administration with a Democratic Congress and Senate that would pass something to relieve, to help. That's gone for at least 4 years. And who knows how much longer if the economy is completely shot. We had a plan that would have that folks that are 25 years now would have had business credits to really build themselves up. All these things, you're right. So it's a perfect analogy. The only positive that I'm going to say, although I think Michael Rudnin will beg to differ, because which and by the way, he would be, the idea that climate change is out. I mean, any what's the word? Any retardant of that which causes climate change is no longer on the front burner. It's on the back burner now, and it simply means that things continue to get a lot worse, and that's where we're at. So I get what you're saying. The only thing that I'm going to say is let's just keep. We are going to have to keep pushing, and we're just going to have to keep engaging. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We just have to get it done. We just have to get it done. But Ray, thank you for reminding me about that movie. Maybe I'll after I get off of this to kind of clear my mind because even as I project this sort of an attitude inside, I'm hurting like you would not imagine. The hurt in my daughter's face, the hurt in my daughter's face when I was doing the 6 o'clock radio show today, and she walked into this room and she looked at me and she said, "Dad, are we going to move to Panama?" And I looked at her and I said, "Babe, we got to fight. We cannot, we cannot make them move us from here. We got to fight. So, Dad, let's move." Like, we can't do that. Um, I don't think people, and by the way, for my MAGA listeners, um, you're going to see it. You're going to feel the pain. You will feel the pain. You know, and most of you won't admit it, but you will. You will, because his policies are not for you. In fact, they've already warned you to be prepared when Brother Musk tells you, "Hey, we are going to feel there's going to have to be some pain before we recover." That is just to buy. That is just to buy you them time to screw you without you reacting, because you are willing to feel the pain till it gets better, and then the pain continues, and you continue in a land of pain. Rad Cover says, "What kind of institutional fortifications could we feasibly enact before leaving office? Maybe only on the local side only." I don't know, Radacopter, but that's a good question. That's a good question. And, we activists are going to be doing a hell of a lot of talking over the next few months. I should say the next few weeks. you know? But yeah. Now, Terry Hostetler wants me to move. He says, "Yeah, get out of here." No, sir. No, sir. Anything else, Ray? I gotta get out of here.
I just want to say this, Egberto, between me and you and the world, I'm going to fight. And just know that
Thank you,
if they take me out, I didn't go down without a fight. That's all.
brother. That's why I love you. Hey, Ray, are you in your car at home or whatever right now, or what?
I'm at home right now. I'm chilling.
Okay. Well, after the show, I got to give you a call. All right.
All right, bro. I'll be here.
Take care. Peace. All right, folks. We got to get out of here. I want to thank all of you. Love all of you. Let me just say that the hurt is there. I am hurting like whatever it is that you hurt like. And I tell you, the part that hurts the most is, like I said, like I mentioned in my piece, I'm going to go over a couple minutes. Growing up in a family that told me, as a black Latino Caribbean man, you have to work twice as hard to accomplish half as much, or rather, not to. You have to work twice as hard to get, twice as to get half as much from society. That always used to hurt, because I know that just this meant that. And I've always thought that we have gotten through that, or been getting, not gotten through, but getting through it. And then we see Kamala. And it was great to see that she was going to do it, and women were going to come together and do it. And she was the most competent person running, and she had the policies that were actually going to make a difference in people's lives. And to see that she worked twice as hard as Donald Trump and just couldn't get over the hurdle. I don't know, for my white brothers and sisters, specifically my white brothers, and to the sisters too, because, and I know all my white sisters in here, they did the right thing. But my black sisters in here, I got to do this. I'm not racial. I got to racialize this one here. I want to pay homage to Yvette Avery Herod. That's the only black sister I think is in the room right now. She is a union activist. She works for UPS. And I know, as a black woman, more so than anybody else at that company, what she has to go through more so than anybody else. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels when you know you are the most qualified. And unlike those that are pushing DEI is reverse discrimination and all of that kind of crap, when you've lived all your life, all of your life you've lived, knowing that twice as good was not enough. When you know that being the most competent wasn't enough. And while this didn't happen to me, I wasn't running for president, it is Kamala. When Kamala walked out there on stage at Howard University, as I was playing the other video, I teared up. I couldn't even hear her, I could just see her face. And once again, just to see the person that was qualified was denied by approximately 51% of the American people. I think it was about 51%. Let me tell you something, guys. I'm going to go another couple minutes. I got to go another couple because I want to tell you something. I want to bear with me a second, guys. Best golfer, Tiger Woods. Best basketball players, mostly black guys, a few white guys. Best in all these sports, best in a whole lot of a lot of academic areas, mostly hidden. People of color. You may say many times, why? It's not that any particular race is better than any particular race because they are not. Pigmentation is the least genetic thing of any influence. It's the least. Makes no difference. There's a possibility that Bridge MCP could give me her heart and couldn't give her heart to her sister. But what white supremacy and patriarchy has done to a whole lot of people of color is turn them into the best because they had to be so much better. So Tiger Woods had to be better just to get there. Michael Jordan had to be better just to get there. Dr. Benson had to be better just to get there. It's a burden, folks, that you don't understand. It's a burden that with all the things that Trump talk about, DEI, and look at what they're doing to you. And mostly that is why it is so hurtful to see black guys support Donald Trump, to see Latino guys of pigmentation persuasion support Donald Trump. That is why it is so difficult to see women support Donald Trump because, yes, women themselves have that issue of having to be so much better. They have to walk such a tight line that a Neanderthal like Donald Trump doesn't have to. It's amazing. Donald Trump can be the biggest buffoon on the planet and get elected. Something that is not afforded any woman or person of color, and you want to talk about DEI, and you want to talk about privilege, and you want to talk about all these issues, let me tell you something, folks. We have a long way to go. And like I said in the title of that article that I would like folks to read, and it goes like this: it isn't Kamala Harris who failed. It is America that showed the world who they are. Folks, please support the program however you can. You know, one of the things that we have to do is to support we need to support programs like my program. And yes, I'm self-serving right now. But one of the reasons that we can have so many people ill-informed, misinformed, making the wrong decisions, having the wrong thought process, is because we don't have the resources that Elon Musk have to reach people. Think about having thousands of doing what I'm doing. We would be able to reach people at the carnal level. That's what we would be able to do. In that regards, folks, support programs like ours, please. You can support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. Or I would love for many of you, I need a whole lot of subscribers to the newsletter. We need that. Please consider becoming a paid subscriber of the newsletter by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. You get to read all of my books. I'm going to have all kind of, benefits for you as well. It's worth it. Please become a paid subscriber of the newsletter. Okay, sorry for going over. I know you're hurting. If anybody wants to just drop a line of email and need a comforting email, drop me a line. I'll be more than happy to do so. I've done a whole lot of comforting already for today. Starting early this morning with my daughter, and then people giving a whole lot of calls. But we will survive this. Again, we congratulate our MAGA folks in the room. We congratulate you. Many of you, I know, the policies that you voted for, it'll hurt you. You may not tell me, but it will. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Please support the newsletter, politicsandright.com/newsletter. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.